I can't see a thing with these on. Hello good people of YouTube and welcome to my hobby channel. And this week I very kindly sent Games Workshop a whole load of my hard-earned money so I could review their product on my hobby channel. Long after the other mainstream content creators have all had their boxes, opened them, painted the models and sold them on eBay. So my fellow hobbyists, for your edification and viewing pleasure, I give you this. What are they called again? Warriors of Chaos, Chaos Marauders Army Reinforcement Set. That's a catchy name, isn't it? So, destructions, bag of bases, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, there's 10. I'll edit that bit out. 10 bases. 2 transfer sheets. These 3 frames here are the frames that you get to make up a unit of 5 Chaos Marauder Horsemen. You get 2 of these so that you can make 2 units of 5. So I'll do a quick review of each sprue. So the first one has 1 horse on it and a standard bearer. So all of these parts are numbered, which denies us kit bashers the flexibility that we once knew and loved from Warhammer models. However, these are beautifully detailed, so I'm not going to linger over all the parts that you get on the sprues because, as I said, they're all numbered. But I just want to show the detail on all these digitally rendered, beautifully sleek plastic models. So that's the first sprue. The second sprue has 2 horses on it, and I particularly like this pose. The first thing I thought when I saw this was that would make a great horse casualty. But of course you have the legs of the riders moulded onto the horses, which is probably great from a miniature building point of view. No gaps to fill, that kind of thing. But it does seriously reduce the kit bashing possibilities with these steeds, which is probably why it was done that way. So I'm not going to linger over all the parts, say, oh, there's a dagger, oh, there's an axe. I'm just going to show you the quality that you get. And there are some nice skulls. Not sure if they're meant to be strapped on to weapons or what, but there seems to be 1 skull for each horseman. And the last sprue again has 2 horses on it and pretty much follows the same sort of format. So we've got heads, lovely detailed horses, more skulls. I have noticed that you seem to get 2-handed weapons or a spear, which is interesting. Similarly, the Marauders on foot come on 3 sprues. In this box of reinforcements, you can make 4 units of 10 with full command. You could probably make 2 units of 20 with full command. Heck, who knows, you could even do a unit of 40, I imagine. Start with the middle sprue because that has the banner pole on it. As with the horses, I'm just going to take a quick look at what you get, but not froth too much because everything is numbered. There is a drum there by the look of it, left and right side there. So we'll have a quick look at the bodies, and these come in several pieces, I would imagine. Multi-part single pose miniatures. You'll have a front half to the body, you'll have a back half. You may get 2 arms and optional heads to stick on, plus your weapons. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're looking at about 7 pieces to make an individual miniature, maybe even more. Let's just have a look at some of the detail on the shields. I do like these shields. That's a nice head there, I do like that. That's very reminiscent of the more recent Chaos Dwarf stuff that they've done. And then we've got this sprue here. Just scan over the surface so that you can see the quality of the detail. Flip it over so that we can focus on some of the iconography on the shields. That looks very lovely. And the final sprue there to complete the set of 10. Again, just to look at the detail. That you get on these. Flip it over. Check out the shields, that's a nice one there. A couple of nice ones there as well, do like that. Torn skin with a hand still on the bottom. So these are absolutely lovely models, and the painting scheme that I've got in mind should make them fairly quick and easy to paint once I've built them. Once upon a time, long ago, when I was writing this fantasy book, I painted some Frostgrave gnolls. Basically primed them black, dry brushed them up using various shades of brown to create a really simple, leathery, dirty paint scheme that I could then pick out the details on. So rather than doing a zenithal prime, I'll prime them in black, dry brush them in a scorched brown, then a mid brown and a light khaki before picking out the details, pretty much following the steps that I describe in my fantasy book. Because I know how I'm going to paint these miniatures, I can just go straight ahead and build them. I'm not using any fancy techniques. I don't need to keep any parts separate because, for example, I'm painting the horse one way, I'm painting the rider a different way, or I'm painting the shield another way. Everything is going to be painted up from black, so I can just crack on and build the models. So I've had a look at the instructions and I've picked out all the pieces that I need to create my first Marauder horseman. Now these bits were spread across 2 sprues. The horse and the rider, for the most part, were on 1 sprue, and then I had to hunt for the shield arm and the shield. So following the instructions, I'm putting glue on the flat surfaces, trying to avoid detail because there's the tail and the nose which is formed on this half, and it's important not to douse those with glue. and then you can just bring those together. There are no locator pins or anything like that. And I've just noticed a little bit there, that detachment scar to trim off. And that is the main body of the horse. It's gone together really easily. I've now got this rein to stick in here to complete this side, like so. A little bit of glue up in that corner there, and a tiny bit of glue on the socket near the mouth. Now, interestingly, there's a peg there, but it looks like a spike, not to be confused with a Chaos spike. Fits in the hole. Hopefully you can see. I'm struggling to peer around my camera. There we go. And that slots in to complete the reins. And then all these wonderful skulls that were on the sprue fit in there. I'm not sure if I want to glue that in. To me, that overdoes it, so I'm going to make a creative decision and leave that skull and not put it on the horse. So I will put some glue on the base, try and position my horses so I can get the tail at one side and the head at the other. Now this is difficult because it's a heavier horse than in my Araby video, but the aim is to have the tail up towards one end of the base at the rear and the head further this way so that they can rank up, because of course this is on a 30 by 60 mil base, but if I can just give you an idea, here's a metal model from the 1980s probably. When we talk about scale creep, this is what we mean. You have a 60 by 30 base rather than a 50 by 25, and then a Chaos horse that's so big, the increased base size didn't really take the problem away. I will now attach the rider. So the first thing I've got to do here is take this rather nondescript shape and work out how I glue it onto this other nondescript shape. Essentially to create an armpit and a waistline, and I think that's it there. If you follow the instructions, it actually makes no sense. Okay, so I think there's a little tab on there, a notch on there that needs to fit into that. There we are. What an absolute headache. Anyway, that's the way these plastic kits go these days. Okay, so now we're putting the cloak on the back here, which fits round the neck there to create a socket for the head and leaves a hole for the shield arm. Some people do jigsaw puzzles, we do Warhammer. So there's the torso with the cloak trailing behind. I can glue the shield arm in there. To complete that ruff round the neck. And then I will glue the spear arm on this side. I've got a little pin there, little recess there. Which means the arm fits or doesn't fit. Famous last words. Oh, it's so annoying. There we go. Right, so the back of the spear actually comes over the top of the cloak. And there we are. That is very nice, actually. That is a nice dynamic pose. Hopefully you can see all this, because there's no way I'm building another one in front of the camera. Right, so I've chosen a head, which I'm going to put on now. And again, there's no scope for posing these. There's no ability to add your own personal touch. Everything fits together like it's a jigsaw puzzle. And when I have seen people talking about kit bashing with these models, the suggestion has always been that you build the model first, and then when you're happy with how the model looks, you take a saw to it and cut the pieces off that you want to swap. Which is an interesting approach. Now I've got this little tag here that slips in there to make a belt loop. So, I mean, actually, if you wanted to magnetize your rider torsos, you could do there, swap them out, but and I think as well that design probably means that if you want to paint the horses separate from the riders, you could do. That's quite nice. I'm not going to glue that at this stage. I want to give myself the freedom to choose what I do with that, whether I magnetize it to give myself some different options, or whether I just leave it like this to make painting easier. I know I said I've chosen my style of painting so I could build the model and I don't need to worry, but I like that feature and I'm just going to run with it. And then I've got the shield here. There's a little slot in the back that fits. In fact, I can take him off and show you. So that fits there like so. So yeah, I'm calling that done because I want to keep my options open with that there. But that is one Marauder horseman. I've selected the pieces that I need according to the instructions to build the champion. And there's 7 pieces here and a base. So we've got the body, we've got some kind of weird petticoat thing going on there, and then the cloak that fits over the top. A weapon arm, which also includes a shoulder pad made from a skull, ram skull or something. Or is that an ibex? We've then got the shield arm, a very nice shield, and a suitably furious and aggressive looking champion head. And now I'm just trying to get some glue on a little bit of this tentatively, because I'm not entirely sure how this goes together. I think it's there. Nope. Nearly though. There we are. Hope you saw that. It's a complete mystery until it suddenly falls into place. So hopefully I can replicate that when I get a bit more glue on where it's needed. So we'll come back, and it's slightly lower than I had it before. There we go. That gap there at the top then will take the cloak. Trying not to get glue on the bits of chain or chainmail or whatever. So we've got some locator pins as well. There we are. That's nice. Once upon a time, that would have been one lump of plastic and we'd have been happy. Now it's 3 pieces. Next comes the shoulder pad and the weapon arm. Wow. Nothing if not confusing. There we go. That's it there. So there's a little triangular locator there. That's flat. So yeah, if you wanted to, you could cut that skull off and just glue the arm on. I don't think I will, because I'm going to make the champion, but it's food for thought. So next time I build this, maybe I'll build it without a skull. Right, we'll get the shield arm on now. And that does have a little locator in it. Which, no, my luck, will stop it from fitting. Right, not tedious at all, that. That is really lovely. There, I'm happy with that. Again, I've just tried to keep the two edges. Oh. There we go. I don't want to spend too long doing scale comparisons, because there will be more opportunity for plenty of that later on in this series. I do have quite a lot of Warriors of Chaos to build, as well as these Marauders. But in the middle there, we've got the Marauder Horseman that I've just built, and on the left we have an Empire Knight from Warhammer The Old World, and behind the Marauder Horseman on the right hand side of the screen there is a Road Warden, or a Empire Pistolier. So in this lineup on the left hand side, we've got an Oldhammer Bretonian Squire or mounted yeoman on a plastic horse. And behind the Marauder Horseman on the right hand side of the screen, we've got a Bretonian Knight of the Realm. And finally, just to finish this off, on the right hand side of the screen, I've got a Chaos Knight. This is one that I picked up from a friend of mine. I've still got the box of Warriors of Chaos to build for my Warhammer The Old World Chaos Army. I just picked up this extra model, and since it was assembled, I thought I'd drop it into this lineup here. And on the left, just for a bit of a giggle, we've got one of the Rambuck Raiders from Fireforge, which is their dwarf ram cavalry. In the middle here, we've got the Chaos Marauder champion that I've just built. And on the right hand side, I've got one of the Warhammer The Old World Orc Araboys. On the left, this has been primed, and I think the horn on the helmet might be broken, but this is an old plastic Marauder, a previous edition of the model that you now see in the centre of this lineup. And just to give you some idea of the scale when it comes to a ordinary human rather than a human that has been kissed or cursed by chaos, we've got a Bretonian archer on the left hand side, an Oldhammer plastic from many years ago, and then the replacement, which was the Bretonian peasant bowmen, which now feature in the Warhammer The Old World Bretonian army. And you can see they're quite a bit shorter and smaller than our very imposing Chaos Marauder champion. If any of you are into Lord of the Rings, the hill tribesman vibe that you get with these Marauder miniatures won't have escaped you, but I did just want to show you the significant difference in scale there. We have a 25mm plastic hill tribesman, which I think was 9 pieces to assemble rather than 7, on the left hand side there, and you can see it is quite a bit smaller than the Warhammer The Old World Chaos Marauder champion, which, to be honest, looks more like a 32mm miniature than it does like a 28mm miniature. But then I guess these Chaos Warriors are meant to be imposing. Thanks ever so much for watching. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please smash that like button. Please hit subscribe for more videos like this. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do, but please keep those comments kind and respectful. Most of all, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.